gel. Düş. Gel. Please touch word. Please touch word.
Please touch word. With me. Please touch word.
In America, we trust diplomatic facilities to serve their people, not to traffic children across continents for cartels that assassinate mayors. January 3rd, 2025, Minneapolis, Minnesota. 238 children rescued from a consulate basement. $847 victims trafficked through a Somalia to Mexico to China pipeline. $680 million in human trafficking profits linked to the cartel that murdered a Mexican mayor 14 days earlier. This wasn't a rogue criminal operation near a diplomatic facility. This was the Somali Cultural Liaison Office claiming diplomatic immunity while operating as a human trafficking hub for Los Zetas cartel, moving children and adults from East Africa through Mexico to Chinese labor camps. The director, Ahmed Khalif Hassan, self-proclaimed honorary council, community leader, advisor on refugee resettlement, featured speaker at UN conferences on displaced persons, and for 9 years the Minneapolis coordinator for Los Zetas' transnational trafficking empire, the same cartel that murdered former Caso Manzo Mayor Roberto Delgado on January 1, 2025, when he threatened to expose their Minnesota connections. This morning, as FBI and ICE agents breached the consulate on Cedar Avenue, they found 238 children locked in basement rooms, shipping manifests routing human cargo from Mogadishu to Tijuana to Shanghai, and a wall of photos, including Mayor Delgado with a red X drawn across his face and the date 11/01/2024. 238 children in Minneapolis, 847 victims total, 1 murdered mayor, all connected. January 3rd, 2025, 5:18 a.m., Cedar Avenue, Minneapolis. FBI Special Agent David Martinez stood outside a 2-story building with a hand-painted sign, Somali Cultural Liaison Office, Honorary Consulate. Inside was Ahmed Khalif Hassan, someone Martinez had met at federal refugee conferences, someone who claimed diplomatic status, now his target. At 5:18, FBI and ICE tactical teams breached both entrances. Ahmed was in his office on the second floor on a satellite phone, speaking Somali. He saw agents, tried to run. FBI, hands up. They tackled him, cuffed him. On his desk, a laptop open to encrypted messages. One message visible before he tried to close it. Shipment 47 cleared Tijuana. 34 children ages 8 to 14. Los Zetas payment confirmed. $1.7 million, China buyers waiting in Shanghai. It says 18 days. Agent Martinez opened the laptop fully, found a spreadsheet, active pipeline. Q4, 2025, Somalia to Mexico. 127 children, 89 adults. Mexico to China, 94 children, 67 adults. Status in transit, total revenue, $47.3 million. Human beings tracked like inventory. Martinez looked at Ahmed. Where are the children? Ahmed said nothing. An agent's voice crackled over radio. Sir, basement, you need to see this. Martinez descended narrow stairs. Steel door at the bottom, padlocked. They breached it. A hallway. 12 doors on each side. Each door locked from the outside. Martinez opened the first door. 14 children, ages 6 to 13, huddled on mattresses, terrified. Door after door. 238 children total, all from Somalia and Ethiopia. All told, they were being resettled to America for education. Instead, they were held in a Minneapolis basement awaiting shipment to Chinese labor camps via Los Zetas cartel smuggling routes. On the basement wall, a map, red lines showing routes. Mogadishu to Nairobi, to Cairo, to Tijuana, to Shanghai, and pinned to the map, a photo of a man, red X drawn across his face. Mayor Roberto Delgado, Caso Manzo, Mexico, 11/01/2024, eliminated. Martinez felt his blood run cold. Mayor Delgado had been assassinated 2 weeks ago, shot outside his home, execution style. This basement held proof the traffickers had ordered it. Ahmed Khalif Hassan was arrested. Ahmed Khalif Hassan, you are under arrest for human trafficking, conspiracy to commit murder, and operating a transnational criminal enterprise. This wasn't just trafficking. This was a cartel-backed pipeline using diplomatic cover to move children across 3 continents and silencing anyone who threatened to expose it. The investigation had begun 4 months earlier. July 2025, a Minneapolis social worker named Lisa Chen received a call from a 12-year-old Somali boy named Omar who'd escaped from a factory in China. He'd called from a UN refugee office in Beijing. His story was horrifying. I was in Somalia. A man said I'd go to America for school. He took me to Kenya, then Egypt, then Mexico. In Mexico, men with guns put me in a truck with other children. We drove for days, then a ship. Then we were in China in a factory making electronics. No pay. If we stopped working, they beat us. Lisa asked, "Who arranged this?" A man in Minneapolis. His office had a Somalia flag. He called it a consulate. His name was Ahmed. Lisa contacted FBI. They were skeptical. A music child's story from Beijing seemed far-fetched, but Agent Martinez pulled records for Somali consulates in Minnesota. No official Somali consulate existed in Minneapolis, but there was a Somali cultural liaison office claiming quasi-diplomatic status run by Ahmed Khalif Hassan. Martinez opened an investigation. FBI pulled Ahmed's organization's records filed as a 501c3 nonprofit. Music Somali Cultural Liaison Office claimed to assist refugee resettlement, process visa applications, provide cultural integration services, facilitate family reunifications. Between 2015 and 2025, 2,147 individuals processed for resettlement, all from Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, ages 6 to 45, all given resettlement assistance through the office. But when FBI tried to verify these individuals, 219 people could not be located in U.S. databases. No immigration records, no social security numbers, no addresses. They disappeared. FBI coordinated with ICE for immigration records, State Department for visa tracking, Interpol for international movements, Chinese authorities for labor trafficking investigations. What emerged was horrifying. 847 victims identified in Chinese factories. Guangdong Province, 340 victims. Electronics manufacturing. Zhejiang Province, 267 victims. Textile factories. Fujian Province, 240 victims. Seafood processing, ages 8 to 45, all from East Africa. All entered China via Mexico. The route recruitment in Somalia and Ethiopia. Ahmed's network promised U.S. resettlement, education, jobs, transit through Kenya and Egypt, victims flown to transit points, Mexico entry, Los Zetas cartel-controlled border crossing, Pacific crossing, cargo ships from Baja California to China, labor camps, victims sold to Chinese factory owners, price per victim. Children ages 8 to 16, $50,000 to Chinese buyers. Adults ages 17 to 45, $35,000 to Chinese buyers. Los Zetas cartel fee, $15,000 per person for transport. Ahmed's cut, $8,000 per person for recruitment and paperwork. $847 victims times $18,000 average equals $91.5 million. Over 9 years, $680 million total network revenue. August 2025, FBI authorized surveillance of Ahmed and the consulate. They couldn't approach. Directly. Ahmed claimed diplomatic immunity falsely, but it complicated jurisdiction. FBI embedded undercover agents as refugee applicants, 2 agents as workers at nearby businesses for surveillance teams and digital monitoring of Ahmed's communications. Over 3 months, they documented the system, recruitment. Ahmed's operatives in Somalia and Ethiopia identified vulnerable families, false promises, your child will get American education and citizenship, payment, families paid $4,000 to $8,000, life savings for processing fees, transit to Minneapolis, victims flown to U.S. on visitor or refugee visas, basement holding, victims held in consulate basement, 2 to 4 weeks, Mexico transfer. Los Zetas operatives picked up victims, transported to Mexico, Pacific smuggling, cargo ships moved victims to China, sailed to factories. Chinese factory owners purchased victims as laborers, all coordinated from Minneapolis. In October 2025, FBI intercepted communications between Ahmed and Al Zetas Lieutenant, the Minnesota pipeline is our most profitable. Ahmed delivers clean product. Children with no U.S. ties. No one looking for them. Chinese buyers trust the Minnesota route. Another message revealed the Mayor Delgado connection. Ahmed to Los Zetas, October 25, 2025. Problem: Mayor Delgado in Caso Manzo is asking questions about Minnesota connections. He's been contacted by FBI. He's planning to testify. He needs to be eliminated before January 5th. Los Zetas' response: understood. We'll handle it. 6 days later, January 1st, 2025, Mayor Roberto Delgado was assassinated outside his home in Caso, Mexico. He'd been investigating Los Zetas' trafficking routes through his municipality. He discovered the Minnesota connection. He was murdered to protect Ahmed's network. By January 10th, FBI had evidence. They moved to arrest on January 15th. January 15th, 2025, 5:18 a.m., while Agent Martinez arrested Ahmed Khalif Hassan in Minneapolis, a multinational operation launched. Target: Alpha, Somali Cultural Liaison Office, Minneapolis. FBI and ICE secured the building, found 238 children in basement rooms. Medical teams rushed in. Children were malnourished, limited food for weeks, some with injuries from beatings for trying to escape, traumatized, told their families would be killed if they talked. Ages 6 to 17, youngest just 6 years old. 238 children waiting to be shipped to Chinese factories. Target: Bravo Ahmed's recruitment network, Somalia. FBI coordinated with Somali Federal Police. Raided 14 recruitment offices across Mogadishu and surrounding regions. Found 89 children being processed for American resettlement. Fake visa documents. Payment records showing families paid $4,000 to $8,000 each. Lists of 2019 victims already trafficked from 2015 to 2025. 47 arrests, recruiters, document forgers, transporters. Target: Charlie, Los Zetas operations, Mexico. FBI coordinated with Mexican federal forces and DEA. Hit Los Zetas safe houses in Tijuana, found 34 victims in transit awaiting Pacific crossing. Caso Manzo raided cartel compound, found documents linking them to Mayor Delgado's assassination. Baja California port intercepted cargo ship with 67 victims hidden in containers. As FBI processed arrests, the scope became clear. At Ahmed's Minneapolis office, database of 2,847 victims from 2015 to 2025. Financial records showing $680 million processed. Communication logs with Los Zetas operatives. Photos of Mayor Delgado marked eliminated. Shipping manifests routing human cargo Somalia to Mexico to China. In Ahmed's personal safe, $2.4 million cash. 47 fake Somali diplomatic passports he'd been selling. Offshore account statements. $47 million, Ahmed's personal cut. Handwritten note: Delgado problem solved. Pipeline secure. At Caso Manzo cartel compound in Mexico. Mexican federal police found documents showing Los Zetas paid Ahmed $15,000 per victim for recruitment. Records of Mayor Delgado surveillance, photos, home address, schedule, assassination. Contract. Target: Roberto Delgado. Payment: $500,000. Status completed. 11/01/2024. Communication logs with Ahmed coordinating victim transfers. Mayor Delgado had been murdered because he discovered Ahmed's Minnesota connection. In China, FBI coordinated with Chinese music authorities. 342 victims rescued from factories. Guangdong Electronics Factory, 127 victims, ages 9 to 34. Jiajiang Textile Factory, 118 victims, ages 8 to 28. Fujin Seafood Plant, 97 victims, ages 10 to 37. Factory owners arrested. All claimed they'd legally purchased labor from Mexican smugglers. Mexico, 101 victims in transit rescued. 34 in Tijuana safe house, 67 in cargo ship containers, all awaiting Pacific crossing to China. Somalia, 89 children rescued from recruitment centers before trafficking began. Total rescued: 770 victims, 238 Minneapolis, 342 China, 101 Mexico, 89 Somalia. Still missing: 1,339 victims trafficked before 2025. Whereabouts unknown. By noon, arrests. Ahmed Khalif Hassan in Minneapolis, 47. Recruiters in Somalia, 23 Los Zetas operatives in Mexico, 14 factory owners in China, 8 shipping company employees for Pacific smuggling. Total 115 arrests. Victims rescued 770. Assets seized $89 million. Music Ahmed's assets plus Los Zetas accounts. FBI brought Ahmed to a secure facility. Agent Martinez sat across from him. You trafficked 847 children and adults. You coordinated with Los Zetas to murder Mayor Delgado. How do you justify this? Ahmed was defiant. I ran a cultural office. I helped refugees. I'm a diplomat. You have no jurisdiction. You're not a diplomat. Somalia's government has no record of appointing you to any position. I have diplomatic papers, fake papers you created. You claimed immunity to avoid prosecution while trafficking children. Martinez slid photos across the table. The 238 children in the basement, factory workers in chains. These children were locked in your basement. Some were 6 years old. They were awaiting resettlement processing, temporary housing. They were chained and you were selling them to Los Zetas for $23,000 each. Ahmed's voice went cold. Families paid me to help their children reach America. I facilitated that. If cartels intercepted them afterward, that's not my responsibility. We have your messages coordinating shipments with Los Zetas. We have your financial records showing $47 million in profit. You ordered Mayor Delgado's assassination. I don't know any mayor. Martinez threw a photo on the table. Delgado with a red X. This was on your wall with the date he was murdered. You sent a message saying, Delgado problem solved. Ahmed said nothing. Roberto Delgado was a father, a public servant. He was trying to stop child trafficking, and you had him murdered to protect your $680 million operation. Ahmed stared at the table, silent. Ahmed's operation revealed catastrophic failures, fake diplomatic claims. Ahmed claimed honorary consul status for 9 years. Nobody verified it. He had official-looking stationery, a building with consulate signage, fake diplomatic credentials. U.S. State Department never confirmed his status, but local authorities assumed it was legitimate. 501c3 nonprofit Shield. Ahmed's office was a registered nonprofit, received federal grants, $2.3 million over 9 years, tax-exempt status, minimal IRS oversight, refugee assistance charities rarely audited. He used taxpayer money to fund trafficking operations. Victim invisibility. Victims were from Somalia and Ethiopia, countries with limited record-keeping. No birth certificates, no verifiable family connections, no one in U.S. looking for them. 2019 people disappeared. Nobody filed missing persons reports. Transnational coordination gaps. The pipeline crossed Somalia for recruitment, Kenya and Egypt for transit, Mexico under Los Zetas' control, Pacific Ocean for maritime smuggling, China as destination. No single country had the full picture. FBI was first to connect all pieces. While Ahmed got rich, children suffered. 12-year-old. Omar escaped from China. They told my mother I go to American school. She paid $6,000, everything we had. They took me to Kenya, then Egypt, then Mexico. Men with guns put me on a ship. I was in China for 2 years, working in factory 14 hours a day. They beat us if we stopped. I only escaped because the factory caught fire. Mayor Delgado's widow via video from Mexico. My husband was a good man. He discovered children were being trafficked through our town. He told me this goes to Minnesota. I have to stop it. They killed him for trying to save children. And Ahmed Hassan ordered it. He took my husband. He took my children's father for money. Lisa Chen, social worker who started investigation. Omar called me from Beijing. A 12-year-old boy thousands of miles from home, forced to work in a factory. I didn't know if his story was real, but I reported it anyway. If I dismissed him as a child making up stories, 238 children would still be locked in that basement. 847 victims trafficked, 770 rescued, 1,077 still missing, 1 mayor murdered. The indictments were sweeping. Ahmed Khalif Hassan faced 847 counts of human trafficking, conspiracy to commit murder of Mayor Delgado, 127 counts of money laundering, 89 counts of wire fraud, and 47 counts of false impersonation of a diplomat. He faces life in federal prison without parole plus 3,000 years. Co-defendants 114 people, 47 recruiters in Somalia, 15 to 30 years each. 23 lost Zetas operatives in Mexico, 25 to 50 years each. Murder and trafficking charges. 14 factory owners in China, Chinese prosecution, execution possible. 30 facilitators and transporters, 10 to 25 years each. Total charges over 12